Hello to everyone in the internet. It is currently Tuesday, December 4th. I am Nathan of Washington, and this is the news on Culture Shock, the only show on the internet that knows how to separate an issue of culture from an issue of politics. How are you doing, folks? France is now going to suspend the fuel tax increase that caused the riots. About damn time. Honestly, they should have done that a while back. Probably not even made the fuel tax increase in the first place. I think this is one of those decisions that will go down in history as legendarily awful. I mean, for crying out loud, the riots caused by this literally shut down the entire country. Not the government, the whole country. And this happened under Macron's presidency. So my interpretation, Macron is an idiot. He caused this through gross incompetence. And you're probably thinking, oh, how can an American criticize a foreign governance? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. Bad politics is bad politics. Period. We can criticize Macron if we want. But at the same time, he can also choose not to listen and go on ahead. But I'm also saying that if he does go on ahead, he's just proving what I already said. If he pulls another stunt like this, then he really is an idiot. You know, just because you're educated doesn't mean you're smart. It means you're an educated fool. If they get more politicians like this, then Europe will be in ruins within a decade. Globalism doesn't work. Incompetent politics doesn't work. These people do not know what they're doing to themselves because they are out of touch with the common person, as so many politicians are. Here in the U.S., the Democrats are out of touch with the common person. They have nothing in common with the working class. So there's that communication barrier, a wall, as it were. See what I did there? There's a similar situation between Macron and his people, and I think even Merkel and hers. There's that communication barrier where they just don't get each other. And you don't want a politician like that. Otherwise, your country and even your continent will eventually be completely wrecked. This suspension actually came after the cancellation of official negotiations due to the fact that the unofficial representatives of the rioters, of the riot movement, were threatened by their fellow rioters and disowned. Meaning they weren't the actual leaders. No one knows who's really in charge of their riot group. I would imagine that no one is in charge. In particular, it's probably complete anarchy, which is why the suspension was the right move. This was, unfortunately, the best possible time after a certain point that Macron could have suddenly got a brain. Once he realized the group basically has no leadership. He should have realized that from the start. He should have avoided this thing from the start. And only now does he finally get a brain. This is going to go down in history as one of the greatest fiascos in the history of politics anywhere. Moving on. UC Berkeley settles with conservative groups in free speech lawsuits. Right, because they kept blocking conservative speakers from going there. Because a loud minority of students, you know, SWJ, argued that they should not go there. They should not be allowed to speak there. Which technically is a free speech violation. But, since colleges are not held to the same standard as the rest of the country's institutions, they got away with it. But enough people started fighting back. It is the liberal culture, particularly in the far left, that creates an anti-conservative environment. This vitriolic, oh, if you're a conservative, then you're evil, type culture. And let me tell you, even the center left have problems because they're basically pop culture zombies. They just kind of just follow whatever trend happens to be in vogue. Believe me, I know this. I may not be a qualified, I could not practice, but I know enough about psychology, an armchair psychologist, to know that I can observe most people in the left. And there aren't very many that have anything in the way of an original thought. It always came from someplace else. Which means they're like I said, pop culture zombies. A few of them have some original ideas, but they're still aligned with whatever happens to be in vogue. They're just following trends. They're not really thinking for themselves. They're just feeling, you know? They're going off pure rhetoric and emotion. Which is why they always insist that they don't have to prove anything. On a side note, there's something else that sounds an awful lot like. And I've been looking into it just to try to figure out what I should really believe. It sounds like Christian apologetics, which is intellectually shallow and rhetorical and irrational, just like the left. With less vitriol, with far less vitriol, but still very much the same. The settlement at UC Berkeley came out to $7 million. $7 million. If that's not an acknowledgement that they've done wrong, I don't know what is. A $7 million settlement. That is not a small sum. That is straight up an acknowledgement that they did the wrong thing. That is a huge apology. Some people are just fanatics and they just want to believe whatever they want to believe, even in the face of facts. When it comes time for them to face the facts, they'll just kind of like, can't look, no. But apparently the administration of UC Berkeley was able to face the facts. In fact, now they're changing their policy concerning major events. Hopefully their new policy will allow for freedom of speech from now on. That they won't just be like, block him. No. If you're not hearing the other side, then the place where you normally discuss things is just an echo chamber. It just becomes a big echo chamber if you're not hearing the other side, ever. That's just how it is. You're not hearing the other side, you live in an echo chamber. You're just hearing the same opinion reverberated over and over, never questioning anything. And that is the truth of the matter. Maybe they could face the facts if they learned to not live in echo chambers, but anyway. The final story, proof that racism against white people exists, just in case you were ever in doubt. South Africa's High Court rejected the white South African farmers' legal challenge against Cyril Ramaphosa's changing of their constitution to make land expropriation legal. Yeah, he went in to try to change their constitution to make it legal, and they challenged it in the High Court, and the legal challenge was rejected because the court's in on it. What Thomas Jefferson said was absolutely true. A government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything away. But of course, a lot of the left are going to be like, oh, that's white privilege. That exists everywhere. They're safe. I have 3 tests for you. 1. Prove white privilege exists. If you fail that one, you're done. 2. Prove that it exists everywhere. And then 3, the final task I have for you. Prove to me that your system of systemic racism exists. I guarantee you will fail all 3 of these, but continue to believe in it anyway. Which is why you should be blocked from talking about any policy ever. And we'll just let you live in your little bubble. While we, the rest of us, live in reality. South Africa hates white people. And if that is how you think, then so do you. Cheers.